Governor Palin, are you going to run for president?
Well, Larry, I'm here to talk about the America and what's important to the people. And to say annoying and cheesy catchphrases like, Mama Grizzly.
Everyone knows you're running. Newsweek magazine published a photo of you in a running outfit.
Well, Larry again. I'm here to talk about.
You do look good, you know. I mean, you have to admit you're pretty hot.
Well, Larry, if my looks give me the chances to have opportunities to get the chances to stand in front of the American people and say the things they want to hear so I can run for president, then I will do what serves my country best and all my assets will serve the people.
But Bristol's hotter. So you are running for president.
I'm serving my fellow citizens any way I can, and I hope to do whatever is necessary to defeat the Constitution's enemies.
So are you campaigning for Bristol on Dancing with the Stars? Is that how she knocked off Brandy?
I've been racking my brain.
You said rack.
Trying to figure out how to reach the people with my message when the media focuses constantly on the sex attributes rather than.
You have a nice rack.
Ways to shrink small government and make it smaller. Barack Obama is an enemy to the Constitution. I will do whatever it takes to give the people their country back and their freedoms. I am a Mama Grizzly.
You played a major role in the 2010 midterm elections. Where do you go from here? If you're running for president, just tell me off the record.
On the record, I am keeping all my options on the table, Larry. Off the record, I was telling the truth in the past when I said I wasn't sure if I was going to run. I needed to see if my popularity was sustainable. Now that I see that it isn't, in fact, my popularity has actually grown immensely. Now I'm sure I'm going to run for president. But Glenn Beck and Sean Hannity will continue to promote my candidacy as they ignore the man who polled the best in a head-to-head against Barack Obama.
Wrong, Paul.
I didn't say that, Larry.
Sure, Sarah. Red is a good color on you. You know it signifies the flushing of the skin when men and women become aroused. My skin is getting red.
As I was saying off the record, I have been planning to run for president all along. I am one of the people, and it is the people who should govern our government so that these bad guys can't socialize our lives. We have to live our lives the way the founders of this country intended.
And how is that?
Excuse me, Larry?
You said we should live our lives as the founders intended. How did the founders intend us to live our lives?
Well, according to the Constitution, of course.
Okay, time for a commercial. We'll be right back. Sarah. We are on a commercial break. I want to give you the chance to think about the answer to this question before we go back on the air. Don't thank me. I'm only doing this because you're so hot. How does the Constitution encourage us to live our lives?
Well, gee. Thanks, Larry. To tell you the truth, I don't really know the Constitution very well. I just talk about it a lot because the voters like that sort of thing right now. The Ron Paul movement has started them talking about it, and the Founding Fathers and all those sorts of things.
So you're saying you really don't care about the Constitution?
No, I'm not saying that. I like the Constitution just like any other American. I just don't know it any better than the average American either.
Come to think of it, you never did talk about the Constitution before. I remember you running with John McCain. You never talked about things like liberty and individual freedom. You mostly talked about honoring military personnel, alternative energy, and hockey moms. Sounds like rallying cries. A whole lot of rah-rah.
Well, Larry, what I would do is sit and listen to talk radio all day. Glenn Beck, Rush Limbaugh, and Sean Hannity. Back then those were the issues that talk radios were talking about. Today Glenn Beck is talking about the Constitution. I like what Glenn is saying. Him and that other Constitution guy who helps him with his online college degree program. I like those guys. So that's what I talk about too. That's what the American people like too. The Constitution and lower taxes. Which I do agree with, Larry.
Okay, we're back. Governor, in what way would you say the Constitution encourages us to live our lives?
Well, as Americans, the Constitution would have us live according to the liberties, the freedoms, and the rights that our founders intended. The speech, the religions, the press, and the guns. And lower taxes too. You know that's what the Tea Party is all about. Bringing us back to those principles of our country's founding.
What about Ron Paul?
What? Ron Paul? What about him?
Well, he's been advocating a return to the Constitution for his entire career. Wouldn't you say he deserves a little credit for this new movement which has caught wind in this last election cycle?
Well, I don't know, Larry. I'm willing to give credit to anyone who helps the cause of liberty. It's what any good mama grizzly would do.
There. You said it again. You said liberty. I don't remember that word being so central to your lexicon before. But never mind that. Didn't you endorse his son Rand Paul?
I did endorse Rand Paul, Larry.
But his father is a competitor. He continues to either beat you or finish narrowly behind you in all the conservative straw polls, and he beats your pants off in the major national polls. Wow. I just gave myself a visual.
I did endorse Rand. First off, I have no problems with Rand Paul. He's an anti-establishment candidate like I am. He's incredibly intelligent. I dream of handling a hostile interviewer the way he does. But mostly, Rand and I were very good for each other. My endorsement of Rand sort of worked like a Rand endorsement of me. Rand is very popular with the libertarian wing of the Tea Party, and I am very popular with the evangelical conservative branch. By endorsing Rand, I earned points with the libertarian types. Ooh, did you just pick your nose?
That was a nose hair. They'll never vote for you. They think you're a populist and an opportunist. And most libertarians are highly educated and philosophical thinkers. Except the 420ers. They just want dope legalized. And the anarchists. They're just naive. But most of them are put off by your lack of let's say sophistication or intellectual foundation.
Well, Ron Paul is very philosophical. I tried to read his book Revolution, a Manifesto, and End the Fed, and I even tried dabbling in Austrian economics. That stuff is cool, but it's not for me. I think I can just stick to doing my research from the sources of talk radio and Fox News. Hey, at least it's not the Quran, right? But everything Ron Paul does in politics is based on his personal studies and deeply researched and historically accurate conclusions. And his love for Thomas Jefferson. I'm just not that way. I'm just not. But that doesn't mean I'm not good for the liberty movement. I have always been a Washington outsider, and I still am. I agree with this liberty movement, but I have to be careful to give too much credit to Dr. Paul, because when the primaries come to a close, it may just come down to me and him.
You can run in a running suit. You can run for president. But can you run the country?
I ran the largest state in the country for several years. I am not a corrupt Washington insider. I know I'm not brilliant like Dr. Paul. But I do have the ability to tap into the pulse and the heart of the American people. My decisions will not be based on a particular philosophy, but maybe they don't need to be. A good mama grizzly just feels. She acts off of her feelings. Maybe knowing how the American people feel about the issues and respecting their voices is enough. Those things alone would make me a far better leader than our current president. That's what I am. If it's enough, let it be enough. If it's not, then I guess I'll find out. But either way, I'll still have my reality TV career to fall back on. But we don't have to let the millions of Americans in on those secrets just yet. Because all of what I just told you is strictly off the record.
Fair enough. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Larry. Larry.
Oh yeah. Catch Governor Palin on her new reality TV show that comes on another channel. At some other time. That's all for this evening, America. Good night. She's so hot. I think I need to change my underwear.